Hello and welcome to the Franchise Time Machine. Hey Max, you can wake up now. I'm streaming. Tonight, I think I'll try to do this every Thursday night. I'm going to do a stream based on something inspired by today's TWIPT release of the latest cards for Out of the Park Baseball's Perfect Team. Every Thursday, there's a new set of cards released, and there's a stream in which um, Paul Sporer goes over all the new content. So today, the card that caught my attention was the Nellie Fox, who had an avoid K or avoid strikeout rating of 173, which is the highest we've seen this cycle. And because this cycle, the max for ratings has been increased from 250 to 550, it's probably the highest maybe that there's ever been. So I wanted to do something based on that. And the first thing that came to mind was what happens if someone with such a high avoid K faces someone who has almost no stuff? And in out of the park baseball, stuff basically represents how likely a pitcher is to throw a strikeout. And so I automatically thought of Nate Cornejo, who is a 40 iron card. So he actually probably gets used a lot. He has a decent shape. Here I can show you what his card looks like. Yeah, here's his card in the game. So because he's a 40, he probably gets used a lot in cap tournaments. Of course, iron tournaments. There's also a low iron tournament, and then in any cap tournament. So a cap tournament is all of the total rating numbers up in the right corner here for your cards have to be below a certain number. So what ends up happening is he's a regular in Cast Max exactly. Because he's a 40, he's essentially free. And he actually has a decent card shape, or kind of like a profile here. So in PT24 last season, pitcher BABIP or batting average on balls in play was a big driver of how well a pitcher would do. In this cycle, the two things seem to be control and home allowed. Um, the higher the home run allowed, the fewer homers you give up. You should actually think of it as home run suppression. And so this shape actually works really well in PT25. But the thing is, he has incredibly low stuff, which means he's very unlikely to strike anyone out. And so I automatically thought of him as the counter to Nellie Fox. So here's Nellie Fox's card. Contact in the game is a composite of batting average on balls in play and avoiding strikeouts. So I think the way to think about it is, do you strike out or not? If you don't strike out, then presumably you're hitting the ball in play, and then what happens when you hit the ball in play? And so uh, BABIP has been a pretty big driver of selecting batters and less so avoid K. Um, so it's interesting to have this card now that has this huge avoid K number. So what happens when a batter who doesn't strike out faces a pitcher who doesn't throw strikeouts? And so I thought what I'd do is set up a simulation where I import Nate Cornejo and Nellie Fox. And I think the best way to do it is I'm just going to make two teams where all the pitchers are Nate Cornejos and all the batters are Nellie Foxes, and put them in a head-to-head. What I'd like to do though is put them in a 162 game head-to-head, basically create a season, and just see what their stats look like at the end of the year. So that's what I'm going to do. I haven't tried this yet, so I'm going to figure this out as I go. I don't know if it's possible to do 162 games head-to-head, so that's the first obstacle we'll face. Um, And then the other thing I need to do is create a text file to import the players. I can import them one at a time, but it's kind of a hassle and also dumps them into the free agent pool, which I don't want. So even for two players, I often prefer to do the text file. And you've probably seen a bunch of these if you've ever watched me stream, but I'll show you what they look like. Hold on, let me pull one up here. Okay, here's an example. This is the file you use to import an example of a file used to import players. I use this for, um, I think this is the 15-year-old versions of a bunch of my all-time favorite major leaguers that we brought in to see what would happen in a major league environment. So I think we'll create basically a two-person version of this. And to do that, we always need our good old baseballreference.com. So let me share my baseball reference screen with you. Let me share this screen. Hold on, why am I getting this spam screen from baseball reference? Hold on, let me get out of the screen before I, but here we go. Okay. All right, so the first thing we need for the notepad is the player ID, which we can pull from here. So I'm going to paste that in. Okay, and then we need a year. Let's go back real quick to this. There's often, sometimes these OOTP cards are based on peak, which kind of takes, it's like a composite of their best performances. But this one is the 2003 season, we can see here. So let's just make sure that's the season we want. So what does this 2003 season look like? Um, 6 and 17, 1.510 whip, 2.1. Yeah, that's a super low strikeout per nine. So we'll take that. So yeah, this is what we're looking at with that profile, right? He gave up a lot of hits, 10.9 per nine, but very few home runs and very few walks, but also had very few strikeouts. So we're going to take this 2003 season. Hang on a second here. All right, hold on, bear with me. Just got to take care of one thing. on my phone here. Okay. All right, so let me pull up that notepad file. And we're going to add 2003 to that. And we're going to add it to a franchise time machine team that we're going to create. And then the next thing we need to do is find the Nellie Fox season we want. Nellie Fox. Oh, actually, first let's see what season the card's based on. 1957. So where's that 1957 season here? Okay, 13 strikeouts in 718 plate appearances. Max with Cornejo's stats from his Silver Cap tournament win: 20 innings pitched, one strikeout. I think we have the right picture for this experiment then. Thank you, Max. I appreciate it. Hey, Max, are you streaming tonight? I'm just wondering if I'll be rating into you or not. Yes. Okay. Cool. Uh, tonight's will probably be pretty short. If I can figure out how to do this, it'll just be because I don't have to build a big roster, and it'll be a sim, and then unless we find out something interesting we want to follow up on, should be relatively quick. So I'm looking at this 57 season, 13 strikeouts in 718 plate appearances, which is pretty low. He's not the lowest actually. So while I was looking into this, who was it? It was Joe Sewell. Played a full season in 1932 and struck out 3 times. So actually, let's grab this year uh, for Nellie Fox, and then we'll look up this Joe Sewell season. So we're gonna take 1957. It's the card on the year on the card. Um, sorry, it's the wrong. Nope. Yeah, so that's his ID. 1957. Okay. So now I'm gonna save this as something I'll remember. Save as. We'll call this Fox versus Cornejo. Okay. So our roster document is actually ready. And let me pull up the checklist here for doing an import. So I'd like to do this in case anyone's watching who is going to be doing a sim season for the first time. Hey, D Block, welcome to the stream. Good morning to you. It's nighttime here, but I know it's your morning over there in Germany. So D Block, what I'm doing is I think on every Thursday, if I can, I'm going to do a stream inspired by the day's TWIPT content. And so, based on Nellie Fox's Super High Avoid K, I wanted to sim a season where a bunch of Nellie Foxes just face a bunch of Nate Cornejos. So, Super High Avoid K facing super low stuff. And Max just shared that in his recent Silver Cap tournament win, Nate Cornejo threw 20 innings and struck out one batter. So he's definitely the right person for our experiment. So that's what we're doing tonight. Cornholio, Nate Cornholio. All right, so I was gonna just share my historic import checklist. Okay, so the first thing I always do is build my roster, which we just did, and then we're gonna start our season. So this will be the first, and then we'll do the import. So the first thing I'm gonna do is set it up in the game. Um, this will be the first time that we're not gonna do a regular season, so we're gonna do a head-to-head, which is an exhibition. So I haven't done that in PT in OOTP 25 yet, so we may have a few hiccups along the way, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so we are going to create a new game. We're going to create a historical exhibition. I think this is where we do head to head. Let's see. Can we do 160? We can only do 9 games. Okay, new plan. We're going to create a new season, and we're going to we're going to create a 2-team league. Let's do that instead. So, a new historical game, or maybe it's a new custom game. I know this will work, so let's start with new historical. We'll do it in 2020. The mode doesn't matter so much because we're just doing one season. You got your coffee, Max? Wow, you're hitting the coffee at midnight or 11 p.m. That's impressive. um, I don't know that we need to import the minor leagues here, but we're going to do it just because that's what we usually do. I don't want to do anything unusual here. I mean, we're going to do something unusual, but I want to leave it as normal as I can until we delete every team but 2. Okay, I think this is experiment 3, but this is low. Or I'm just going to call it Fox versus Cornejo, Cornholio. Yeah. Commissioner mode, be held. All right, starting up the season here. So this is what I was talking about earlier. All right, so we're starting the season. Then we'll do the import, and we'll make some adjustments, and then we'll run the sim. Now, once we get in there, we're going to make sure we do these things to make sure the sim goes smoothly. The main thing is you want injuries off because we're not going to have a reserve. So if anyone got hurt, it would completely throw off the sim. For the same reason, we want to turn off historic transactions because we don't want a bunch of players being added to this team or taken off the team. Well, there won't be a historic transaction involving these two players, but there would be potentially transactions adding players, which you don't want. I did think about doing like a whole team of low strikeout pitchers against a whole team of low strikeout batters, which I still might do, but this was a way to just do it really quickly. And also show people how to use editor to make some adjustments. Because one of the things that we ran into when we did other sims like this, like when we did a whole team of Dave Steves and Kitty Bransfields, was I kind of had to force the game to start. I couldn't actually set a lineup because we didn't have enough versions of Kitty Bransfield that could play all the positions. If you force it to start, the game engine will force players to play out of position. But I'm going to use editor to actually just make a bunch of players that bat like Nellie Fox. But I'm going to create a couple of catchers, a few corner infielders. He's a middle infielder, so we'll leave a couple versions of himself intact. And then I want to make some legit outfielder versions of him because I don't want that to kind of um, confound the results. And but what I'll do is I'll make him like a decent outfielder and a decent catcher, um, because mostly I want to see what happens with the rest of the simulation. I don't want it to be focused on fielding. Yeah, Max, good luck on that. Getting affiliation. We could always use more, I think, late night streamers, or actually, who would end up being early morning streamers for other parts of the world. All right, as usual, we're going to take over the Oakland A's, but we're gonna remove everyone from the majors except for two teams. So you say you'll have an opportunity to be a double drop stream. Do you mean the last drops of the night and then the first drops of the next morning? Because you'll be bridging that. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That'll be fun. Yeah, I like that in general. We give people a last chance to get their drops if if they're busy or they had to work or for whatever reason, they can always get on Twitch at night and one of us will be on. I I'm curious to see what's going to happen here if I when I delete every version of the league except two. All right, so let's first let's set up our team because we know we have to do that. Actually, let's set up the game. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is make sure injuries are off. I'm doing this stuff right here. Right, injuries off. Historic transactions were off when I started the league, and then importance of all-star popularity off. Actually, this is less important in this sim. This is more something that's important when you're doing like a season sim within a major league context. This is just gonna be a bunch of Cornejos and Foxes, so um, probably not important. But I'm gonna do it just in case. I don't want to regret it at the end of the season if I'm like, oh, I wish we could have seen what happened. And then we're gonna set the de facto um, do not disturb. We can't use the actual do not disturb because while this do not disturb box is convenient, it lets the AI take too much control. So we're just going to stop the interruptions. Now, I think what we're going to need to do is whichever team we leave in the majors with us, we're gonna have to set them to human control too, so that they're not doing uh any roster transactions and changing their team. So it's basically because I wanted to just be a team of Cornejos and Foxes versus Cornejos and Foxes. Um, okay, so that's done. Let's let's now set up the league. Okay, so here's the league structure. Normally we try to minimize any deleting or adding of teams because that causes the game to have to create a new schedule, but we're gonna delete a bunch of these teams. So we're gonna be Cornejos and Foxes, and this will be 1 because there's gonna be a 2. Franchise Time Machine 1. Oh wait, I can't do that because we're importing it. So here's what I'm thinking. We'll call this team FTM Franchise Time Machine so we can import the players, and then we'll rename it FTM1, and then we'll name the other team FTM, and then we'll just do the import again. Or actually, I might just end up duplicating the players and copying them over because we are going to do a bunch of edits. Okay, so let's start removing teams. I am I am a little disappointed that the exhibition mode is so limiting in terms of. Oh, I can just delete divisions. Let's do that. Delete the East Division. I mean, I wouldn't think it'd be any harder to code to just let it be like any number instead of limited to like 7 and 9, best of 7, best of 9. Okay, let's delete the National League. Okay, so all we have is the NL West, and we'll keep Seattle because I like Seattle. Okay, we now have a two-team league. Let's go into our team. I might leave normally I would replace the logos with my franchise time machine logo, but we're going to leave the logos of the A's and the Mariners so that we can distinguish the two from each other. Maybe I should just leave the Mariners too once I do the import. Okay. So yeah, so I'm not going to mess with the logos. That's the thing I was just contemplating. Okay. All right, so let's clear out these rosters. And let's go ahead and do the import. So to do the import, yeah, never mind. Here's how to do the import. You can always screenshot this or check out my VODs. We prepared the destination, which we just did. We set the abbreviation and we cleared out the roster. So we're going to go to the free agent page and then under actions, go to import historical players, select the database, and then use that text file we created earlier. So sign a free agent, takes you to the free agent page. Yeah, Max, I'm assuming it's just a matter of time before you get that affiliate status. So best of luck to you. I think it sounds like you just had bad timing trying to reach out to them while they're busy with all-star game stuff. All right, import historical players, historical underscore database. Okay, and then we're going to select the file here. This is the one I created for this. It's Fox versus Cornholio. Fielding ratings based on entire career. That might help us actually not have to create so many different fielding versions. And the pitcher stamina will be based on the imported season. All right, so it is importing. Oh, you know what? In hindsight, what I should have done is might have saved me a little bit of work. I should have just copied and pasted in this notepad file, and I've done this before. I did this with the Kitties and Steve's team. I should just copy this Cornejo line 12 times and the Fox line 14 times. And then I'd have 12 and 14 to work with. As of now, I'm going to have to do that in here, which is fine. I think it's good to also show how to copy and like basically duplicate or clone players. D-Block says, beware, once you start, you won't get things like Cornholio or Cornejo or Cojones or Quinones out of your head. Yeah, I know. One thing I've noticed since I started streaming is, because I run that theme team of the Hooked on Streamer Phonics TTC, it is really hard not to mess up names. Part of it is just like stumbling across your own words, but then also D-Block, just like the stuff you just mentioned, like you get this idea in your head of like a word swap and it just comes out even though you're aware of it. Actually, the more you're aware of it, I think the easier it is for it to tumble out. Okay, let's go back to our roster. All right, so there, and it's interesting. I mean, I know he's a 40 level card in our game, but this Cornejo is not very good. Okay, so we're gonna clone this player. Okay, you know what? It's sending the clone to the free agent list, which I was afraid of that. So we're gonna delete that free agent, and I'm going to update this list. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do it the smart way. I was afraid that the clone would go into the free agent pool. So we're just gonna copy this line, and we're just gonna paste it over and over. So we're uh, so I need to add 11 and 13 because we already have one of each in here. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Counting with franchise time machine. Okay, and then this fox, we need 13 of this because we already have one in the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, this will be way easier than trying to find, like trying to clone and find all these in the free agent pool over and over. Okay, so now let me save this and we'll import this. When you add it to what we already have, we should have a full roster. Anyway, I thought I would show how to do some additional stuff in the game by doing this, but it's going to be so um what's the word I'm looking for? Tedious that I don't want to do it. We're just going to do it the smart way. So when we go into the free agent pool, I do need to delete that version of Deal said it's the way we read. We do not read the full word. If we have a topic and we're well into it, you just read the beginning and the end of the word. Yeah, hey D Block, have you seen that? There's an amazing like meme that's an entire paragraph and every word is misspelled, but you can read it as easily as like any other piece of writing. But then when you go back and look at it, it's amazing that your brain was able to read it because every word is so terribly misspelled. It's pretty cool. It goes to your point about how your brain is not processing the whole word. Um, okay, so we need to find that free agent, that Cornejo. It also happened with that card that Paul Sporer had on his tournament team that he was so angry at. Uh, I started referring to the player as Specs to Sporer to put his name in the name to Sporer, and now I can't remember what the actual player's name is because Sporer has replaced it in my mental database. All right, let me find this Cornejo. There's a Cornelio. It's almost Cornholio. Nate Cornejo. Here he is. All right, so we're gonna delete him. Ooh, I didn't realize. Okay, uh, yeah, it had to. That's weird. It had to rebuild the whole player list just to take out that one player. Okay, so then, hey, Cheeky, thank you for the raid. You know what? I still don't know what happens when Cheeky, when you raid in. Do you hear what I'm saying, or do you get dumped into an ad right away? Thanks, man. Hope your stream went well. I heard parts of it, and I participated in a few of your marble races, but I was trying to get ready for this stream. I'm gonna wait to catch people from the stream up until after I think that. Hey, Sneaky Ghosty. Okay, you are here. Good. You're not in an ad. So let me catch you up on what I'm doing here. I've decided every Thursday I'm probably going to do a stream inspired by that day's TWIPT. And in today's TWIPT, what really caught my attention was that Nellie Fox card. So what we're doing tonight is, since Nellie Fox has crazy avoid K, the pitcher I could think of with the lowest stuff was Nate Cornejo. His stuff rating is a 10 in perfect team. You know, I'm going to pull his stats from that season into the base game. So, we don't have ratings like that in the base game. But the whole idea is what happens when we take a pitcher who can't strike anyone out against a batter who never strikes out. And we're going to do a whole season of all Cornejos pitching against all Nelly Foxes. So we're right in the middle of importing our roster here. So I already imported one Cornejo and one Fox, and I was gonna just clone them in the game. But unfortunately, when you clone them, it sends them to the free agent pool. And so that was going to create a bunch of unnecessary work. So we're instead going to just re-import. I updated my import list. So now it has multiples. So we're just going to import them all at once. All right. So I started the download or the import. Sorry. And unfortunately, the demonstration mode in the game will not let you do a 162 game head to head demo. So instead, I took the major leagues and just deleted every team but two. And we're just going to play a two team major league season. But D Block, this is good learning for the head to head we're going to do for your Royals against Spore's Tigers. Because if we're going to do anything other than best of seven or best of nine, or anything beyond best of nine, we'll have to do something different. The demonstration go will only go to best of nine. So Cheeky, the progress is D Block already has his roster in. Paul's working on his Tigers roster. But I messaged Paul that we have a bunch of stuff that we need D Block and Paul to agree on. Like the presidential debates, we have to figure out what's the format. Is it? I would recommend now best of nine because that's the highest we can go without having to create something new. We'd have to determine how we decide who the home team is because best of nine means someone has an advantage. Okay, we imported 24 players, so with the two we already had, we should have a full roster now. We also have to decide what era we're going to play in. I usually do these in 2023, but you guys might decide you want to do something else. Um, we need to decide what the rules are for roster, like strategy management. So the way I usually do it is I let the AI control everything. I don't know if Paul and D Block are going to be willing to do that. And so, I mean, it's not hard. We just have to get the two of them to agree on a few things, and then I can do the sim. But the main thing is I need a roster from Paul. And I think the fun thing is once we have this precedent, we can invite other head-to-head matchups because I know Cheeky wants to take on the Tigers too. Cheeky wants revenge for 1984. Well, Cheeky, the way D Block and Paul have agreed to do it, you will have a chance because Paul can only pick players from since the Royals have been in existence. So it will level the playing field quite a bit. All right, so this is great. So we have our 12 Cornejos and our 14 Foxes. Now, the only change I was making on the Cornejos was, let me go into editor mode here. His stamina is a 145, which is, you can see here on the scale of 1 to 250 is kind of middle of the road. Um, all right, Max. Yeah, you do what you need to do, and then I'll raid on over to you when we're done. So for some of these Cornejos, I was gonna take the stamina down to make them more relievers, but this stamina is low enough that I'm worried about not having enough pitchers to go around. So we're gonna leave him as is, and I'm just gonna change. I'm just gonna change his name. So just so we can know which Cornejo is doing what, I'm just gonna name them. Oh, and this is. I mean, I guess they have uniform numbers, but so do you like you're talking about the head to head with Spore here? You're saying you say we only take players from 1986 onwards with seasons from 1986 onwards, since we want to see which loser franchise is third worst and which one is second worst in MLB since he won the World Series in 84, 85. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying you only pick from like their post World Series seasons. So I think that's a good idea too, because then that eliminates even if he starts picking when Royals came into existence, the Tigers still have a big head start in those early expansion seasons. So I think cutting those out is a good idea too. Like the Mets came into existence in 1962. I think they had all 100 lost seasons until 1969 when they won the World Series. So those first seven seasons were essentially, first six seasons were essentially useless. Anyway, whatever you two agree on, I think is fine. Anyway, once you're in a roster in editor, you can arrow up and down and it'll actually just keep the same editor screen, but just go to the next player on the roster. So it's super convenient when you're trying to do stuff like this. Oh, one other thing is you if you don't hit enter, it won't record your changes when it's a name change. So you saw me type O2, but when I go down now, oops, it's not there because I didn't hit enter. So I have to do O2 and then hit enter. And now it'll record. So now if I go down and go up, now the O2 is there. It wasn't there before because I forgot to hit enter. These are all little quirks of the base game and editor. But it's worth knowing because editor is super fun to play with. I wonder too, maybe I should make the other team's number start with like 101, 102, so it's even more clear. Oh wait, which one am I up to? Four. This is five. This is six. This is seven. This is eight. Oops. This is nine. This is 10. This is 11. This is 12. Right, great. Now we're on to the Nellie Foxes. We'll do the same thing here. Nellie Fox 01. Fox 02. Nellie Fox 03. Nellie Fox 04. Now I'm hoping I could just copy these players over to the other team, but we may have to do this twice, which is kind of annoying, but we'll see. Oops. Oh 08. 09. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. Okay, great. So everyone's numbered now. Unlike with the various versions of Nate Cornejo, I think we're fine leaving that kind of middle of the road stamina for all of them. We are going to want to do some positional changes here. So positional data is under batting ratings. And we can also still go up and down here. You'll see, right? We're going through 1 through 7 there real quickly. If you look up at the player name, just arrowing up and down, we're going to be able to go through the roster. So that is convenient. Okay, we need a catcher, so we're going to make a catcher version of Nellie Fox. We're going to make two because we need a backup. And we're just going to call this 100. We'll just go 100s across the board. Oops. 100, 100, and we'll put the experience as 200. Okay. So essentially an 83 rated catcher. And you know, we'll just leave all of the Nelly Foxes able to play second base. Um, okay, so Nelly Foxes 1 and 2 will be our catchers. Okay, and experience 200. All right, and then you know, I'm just gonna make a bunch of infielder Nelly Foxes. So they just need experience at all the positions. So we'll just give them 200 experience at all the infield positions. And you'll get to see too, like with this profile, 98 range, 146 error, 55 arm, and 120 turn double play. If they had full experience at every position, they translate into 122 at first base, 106 at second base, 56 at third base, and 60 at shortstop. So you can see the relative um, difficulty OOTP assigns to playing each position. Now, third base is highly dependent on arm strength. So it's 155 arm here, 56 rating. If I just change the arm to 155, right, it helps everywhere, but it helps the most at third base. Now he's a 130 third baseman because arm is so important in that position. But just for simplicity, we're going to leave his infield attributes the same and just change the experience level. So that's one infielder. This is, oh shoot, this is the second infielder. Okay. This will be the third infielder. Okay, here's the fourth infielder. And this will be the fifth infielder. Oops. I think we'll go six infielders and then um, six infielders, six outfielders, or seven infielders, five outfielders. Seven infield. We'll do seven infielders, five outfielders. Whoops. Okay, so that leaves 9, 10, 11, 12. That still leaves six. I think we need one more infielder then. Oh, no. 9, 10, 11, 12. 13. Yeah, okay, so the rest are not outfielders. We'll have five outfielders. Okay, so for that, this outfield range error and arm, even if we max out, let's say left field, he's an outfielder one, which is not going to be okay. So we're just going to call this 100. Okay, so he's a 110 in left field, a 33 in center field. You know what? Maybe we should have gone average. Maybe we should have gone 125. Okay, that's a little better. We'll do that for the outfielders. Okay. All right. Two more outfielders to create. Oh, shoot. That's supposed to be 146. Okay, and then the last Nellie Fox. Okay. So now the main thing is I want to see how are we going to copy this group now over to the uh, Mariners. So let's go over to the Mariners real quick. And let's look at their roster. Oh, wait, no, I want to see the Mariners roster. Lineups. Okay. Let's see if I'm in commissioner mode, so I should be allowed to delete these players. Yes. Okay, now the question is, what's going to be the easiest way to bring these players over to the Mariners? I could clone them, but then I have to bring everyone over there. That's probably less of a pain than it was to make the edits we just made. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to clone these players. Okay, so now if we go to the free agent pool, the one thing I'm going to need to remember to do is put the Mariners under human control also, so that the AI can't take them over during the sim. Okay, let's go to Cornholio. There should be a bunch of them in a row. Wait, where are they? That's weird. Oh, it's because it's all batters. I need all players. Okay, now we should be able to find all the Cornholios. Yep, there they are. I wonder if it'll let me. What kind of mass transaction can I do here? Okay, I don't want to sign them because that's a little too much trouble. So we're just gonna go into editor mode. Hey, Divok, what do you mean if you could get actual Royals and Tigers to get involved in the Balloners? Do you mean like actual former players? Okay, so if you go down here, you can just assign them to whatever team you want. So Major League Baseball, Seattle Mariners. See, now he's the Mariner. But oh, oh, good, it will work. Okay, so now I go to Cornejo 2. Seattle Mariners. Go to Cornejo 3 and do the same thing. Okay, this is not as bad as I thought it would be. So the cloning worked pretty well. Former, current, and officials. I think, I don't know, maybe I'm underestimating how much Major League personnel and former Major Leaguers know OOTP, but it seems like a stretch. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it'd be super cool, but how feasible is that really? I mean, I know people have had former major leaguers on their streams and podcasts, so I guess it's possible. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the Mariners roster. All right, great. They do have 12 Corneos. Oh, check it out. Some have been assigned closer roles and some have been assigned starting pitcher roles, even though they're identical. You're just letting your head flow freely. Yeah, don't let me stop you there. I don't want to don't let me rain on your parade. I don't want to censor you at all. I think that's we should be as ambitious as we can be. All right, so now we got to go back into the free agent pool and reassign all the Nellie Foxes to Seattle. Oh, there is a front office guy from the Reds in EMLB. That's awesome. If there's any major league affiliated people in the chat, let us know. D Block wants to talk to you. Oh, good. Here's our Nelly Foxes, all in a row. Go to editor and assign them to the Mariners. That's good. I don't even have to scroll down each time. This part, it seems like the devs have done a good job of making some good quality of life features in here. They're almost done assigning all of these Nelly Foxes to Seattle. All right. So the Mariners are now ready to go. It's basically the oldest part of the game. They have the most experience with it. Yeah, that's probably right. Although it probably receives maybe the least amount of attention, even though it's been around the longest and probably therefore has the most kind of the benefits of that. I feel like Perfect Team gets more of the current attention. So Max says you've had OOTP for a long time, realize that you know very little when it comes to what you can do with the game. Yeah, even I've been doing these weird sims and a bunch of like multi-season sims since I first started playing OTP, probably around OTP 12 or so. But like I've realized like for example, Twins 34 can run circles around me in terms of like knowing what's in the game because I would do my 5 or 6 things in the game. I've figured out how to do them pretty well, but I know nothing else about like all the other things the game can do. So I'm learning a lot doing these weird sims on stream. Okay, so now within the Mariners roster, in the hey Debo, what's the ETA? In the ETA, they do 80% base game, very few PT. And they mainly let base game guys in the beat and very few PT guys. I'm not sure I understand what that means. And Max says all he's done is online GM in OOTP 6.5. Didn't actually get a copy until 8. It took a long time off. I will say, oh, in the beta, I see. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. There's a B missing in the beta. Now I understand. So in the beta, they do 80% base game. I didn't realize that. That's great to hear. Um, the one good thing, the one really great thing about Perfect Team is, I will say, it has gotten me to buy OOTP in consecutive years, which has never happened before. So, and I was even like, I even pre-ordered it because I wanted the bonus packs. So Perfect Team has definitely turned me into now an annual purchaser of the game. Okay, so the one thing I want to do is in the Seattle versions of Cornejo and Fox, I want to give them different suffixes so that I know which is which is Nate Cornejo which Nate Cornejo '01 we're talking about. Are we talking about the Seattle '01 or the franchise time machine '01? So we'll open this guy in editor and I'm just going to rename this S01 for Seattle '01. Oh wait, I didn't hit enter. See, I'll go back. I didn't hit enter, so the S went away. For names only, and when you saw I did the ratings changes for the fielding position, I didn't have to hit enter every time. But now I hit enter and it stayed. You know what? I'm gonna go back. I want to make this '01S just because it's easier to edit it. Oh shoot. Okay, let me go up and down. See, now that's one benefit of not saving unless I hit enter. All right, it's gonna be a lot easier to just add an S at the end here. Caps lock. There we go. Oh wait, I didn't hit enter again. See? That's an annoying little quirk. I wonder why it's only like that for names and nothing else. Okay, and now the Nellie Foxes, same thing. I was gonna say, I wish there was like a quality of life way to make this easier, but it probably happens so infrequently that there's probably not a point in making a bunch of changes to just accommodate like my craziness with the game. I mean, I'll definitely bring it up in the forums if I come up with a quality of life change that makes it easier for me to do my weird stuff, but I also think will benefit other players. But I acknowledge that there's probably a bunch of stuff that I would find helpful that no one else would care about. But an undo in editor, I think, is a must. Because you saw earlier when I fat fingered some of the fielding ratings, I went into the wrong field and I overwrote something. If it weren't for the fact that I already had 13 other Nelly Foxes to look at, I would have no idea what number I just overwrote, and there's no way for me to undo it. Um, Actually, there is. If it's the only field I've touched, I think you can do Control Z. But if you've moved past that, then you've lost it for good. You think I should apply for beta in December? I hadn't really thought about that. If you think it'd be helpful to the community, I'm up for it. I would consider it. You say yes. Okay, then I will look into it. Max also saying I should be a tester. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. So I'm looking at the roster here. I'm missing. Oh, my one Nate Cornejo O1S is an SO1 because I did that before I made the decision to put the S at the end. So let me fix that, and then we're ready to roll, I think. All right, you're starting in 15 minutes? Okay. I will raid into you whenever we're finished here. The rosters are done, so I should be able to ready to sim pretty soon. Okay, so now we need to go back into the teams are ready. Um, there's a cool thing I found in here. D Block is too focused on PT and not enough base game to do both. Oh, I see. Max, if Twitch breaks, you're now a moderator, so you can type in the raid command for me if it doesn't work. It's been working better since I've been logging into Twitch using Firefox instead of Chrome. So I may have just lost my potential Chrome sponsorship, but Chrome was apparently I was having a lot of problems because of Chrome because Firefox is working better for me. Okay, so there's this cool thing you can do in here where you can um, set all teams to be controlled by Mochi Mitsushi, which is my manager. So we're going to do that. This will put you in GM and manager spot of every team and fires every other human manager controlling a team this league. I'm okay with that. So now every team should be under human control. There's also the reverse. You can set all teams to AI control. So now neither team should get neither team should have AI override our settings or in our rosters and add players. Because one thing we noticed was in some of these other sims, when we had multiple teams we had edited, the teams I was not controlling directly were getting players added at the roster expansion date. Now this should fix that. So this is our first test of that as well. Okay, the only other thing I need to do is edit my mailbox so that, well, in this kind of sim, it won't really matter, but I like to get my postseason award and all-star game notifications via mail and not get too much other stuff. Okay, so first we'll start with the Mariners. We need to do our pitching staffs. And by we, I mean I'm going to let the AI do everything. Oh, wait, this Cornejo O2 is not an S, so I need to edit him. This is probably an example I didn't hit enter at the end. Okay, now let's see if that's stuck. Okay, so yeah, so for some reason it already has decided 2, 5, 8, 11, and 12 are going to be the starters, even though they're identical. So let's clear pitching staff. So none of them. Okay, I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna set all these positions to reliever. We're gonna do a little mini experiment within the experiment here. Oh, I wonder if I can do multiple. I bet I can. No, it won't let me. I was hoping it would let me do multiple players and set them to reliever. The reason I'm doing this is when I let the AI set the pitching staff, I'm kind of curious to see if it assigns the same ones to be starters again. And I have no idea why it would do that. These are numerically identical players in terms of all their attributes. D-Luck says all three teams in the Thursday Night Live lost in round 4 in game 7. Okay, so now let's see what happens when we ask the manager for pitching staff. Okay, 11, 2, 8, 5, and 12 for some reason are the starters. And 10 is the closer. And 11 is the ace for whatever reason. Now, I'm going to make note of this 11, 2, 8, 5, 12, because when we go to the franchise time machine team, will it make the same assignments? 2, 11, 8, 5, 4. Hmm. 2, 11, 8, 5, 4. Yeah, 4 is not in this rotation. Listen, I just find it interesting that, but it's not, it doesn't seem totally random because 2, 11, 8, 5, 4/5 of the rotations are the same. But they're all identical. Why isn't it just all one through 5, or why are they just completely random? Why are 4 of the 5 the same? I I don't know. I don't know, but I want to know. Okay, now we're gonna do the same with the batting orders. Now these we've clearly given it certain Nellie Foxes belong at catcher and outfield because of the way we set their defense. But it's interesting. It only assigned one of them to be a catcher, though. Where's my other catcher? Well, oh, I know it's 1 and 2. So 1 can be a catcher, but he's not being used as a catcher. Why is that? What is going on here? That's weird. He has no backup. Oh, he does have it. Okay. Nellie Fox 2 is the backup catcher. Okay. At least that's right. But okay, this is so dumb. The AI is starting Nellie Fox 1 at second base, even though Nellie Fox 1 is the backup catcher. So now when our catcher is tired, our Nellie Fox 1 is not going to be fully rested because he will have been playing second base, even though there's literally 13 other Nellie Foxes that have the same second base rating as him. That seems really stupid. Am I wrong to think that? Like you're starting your backup catcher at second base, even though you have other identical second basemen you could be starting? Like, why would you not rest your backup catcher? All right. Well, AI is going to AI. I'm getting an emote made that says AI gonna AI, and I'm getting an emote made that's gonna say RNG gonna RNG. I'm very excited about those. I'm also getting a um phonics TTC alert emote made so I can use that when I'm in other channels. And I'm getting a NSFW uh, emote made so I can use that if anytime a name comes up. So I'm looking forward to getting those. Okay, well, anyway, AI is starting our backup catcher at second base, even though any one of these other Nelly Foxes can play second base just as well. All right, now let's go back to the Mariners and get their lineup set. Oh, it looks like I didn't ask them to do it, but it looks like they set their lineups already. Okay, now let's see what they're doing with their catchers. Um, okay, Nelly Fox 1S is starting a catcher. Good. Their backup is Nelly Fox 2. Good. They are resting their backup catcher. Okay. This is Scott Service is much, or Scott Service is much smarter. Scott Service is much smarter than who is the. Oh, you got Frank Thomas and Tanana. Congrats, D Block. Those are exciting cards. I would be really psyched to have them on any of my teams. Congrats on finishing those missions. Is much smarter than. Is it Iana Coney? I don't care about the A's. I don't follow them at all. Zero. Okay, so maybe one reason they're so terrible is because they start their backup catcher. So they have a tired backup catcher. Oh, look at that. I just did a refresh and had them reassign it. And now they're starting Nelly Fox 2 a catcher, but at least they've benched Nelly Fox 1. So at least Nelly Fox 1 will be rested when they're needed to back up. Okay, this is great. We are now ready to go. I'm going to save this game. So I might make it as a backup too, just because it was such a hassle to do this. In case I want to do it again or use it again. You got Don Sutton in a perfect choice. Hey, congrats! What did you win to get the perfect choice pack? You sold him to finish the missions. Oh, that's smart. So I guess that's a weekly, right? You win a weekly and you get a perfect choice pack. Some PD weekly. Nice. All right. Why do these Nelly Foxes have no defense listed? Wait a second. There should be no Nelly Foxes with no defensive. No. Hold on a second. 1 and 2 are my catchers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are all my infielders. Yep. Then 10. Oh, 11, 12, 13, and 14. These are also see my outfielders, and they're not. Okay, so I need to. Somehow I missed. Did I do something wrong here? Oh, I updated their ratings, but I didn't update their experience. All right, let me fix that. Okay, that was a silly mistake. Okay. That might also explain some of the weirdness in the backup catcher situation. So now let me see. Right now, let me see if I have it assigned positions. There we go. The entire depth chart's filled in. The backup catcher is resting. Perfect. So the franchise time machine roster is set. I need to fix that on the Mariners roster too then. Because they're cloned, they probably have the same issue. So 10S should still be a good outfielder. Yep. And then starting with 11, yeah, there's no outfielder rate or no outfielder experience. All right. I'm glad I caught that. Let me pat myself on the back there for catching that. So D-Luck says you just did the same thing on a different team, this time with Jim Cott and sold and you sold Thomas and Tanana. That's awesome. What did you get with all the proceeds? Or is it too many things to list? Okay. Now we should be ready to oh wait, there's one more outfielder. All right, now we should be ready to go after I fix this one. Okay. Now when we go to let me have him refresh his depth charts. Sweet. And the backup catcher is not playing second base. Awesome. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me save again now that that's fixed. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting. I need to save and back up after I finish this day because after I finish today is when it does that time consuming updating. And I don't want to have to do that after I restore a save or after I restore a backup. Nothing You'll buy packs. It was on your stream backup team that collects packs for unique content so you can open packs. I think I still have over 1,500 packs across my 6 accounts that I've been too busy to open. Okay, so now let's go to. Okay, I think I can sim finish today, and then it'll do all the setup stuff. Oh yeah, Major League Baseball has its league schedule structure altered, but a new schedule was not generated. This could cause one. Please create or import a new schedule. Okay. Oh yeah, so I need to go back to the league structure. I forgot to do this. I need to generate a schedule. Schedule generated. Okay. So now if I finish today, they should do all the league setup stuff or the season setup stuff. Yeah. All right. Do all this stuff now before I do the backup so that when I restore the backup, it doesn't still have to do it. That's a lesson I've learned the hard way a bunch of times. Okay. So now we do the save. I oversave, but it's because I'd rather oversave than undersave. The cost of oversaving is very low compared to the cost of not saving enough and having a problem. And then let me create a backup. Start backup. So if in a tournament, a cap tournament, Max's Cornejo pitched 20 innings, only struck out one. And it's not like he was facing a bunch of non striking out Nellie Foxes. I wonder how many strikeouts we're going to see in this season. Dealer says everyone who went to college and lost a thesis because not saving will agree. All right, I think we're ready to go. Let's sim this baby. I'm gonna sim a month, but it'll just be one or two games because we're already at the end of the month here. All right, I'm kind of curious to see the box score of that first game, if there are any strikeouts. Oh, sorry, there've been two games. One went to extra innings. I mean, you kind of would expect this, right? If they're two identical teams, I don't know. Is it wrong that I should expect that? I mean, I guess in the long run they should be evenly matched, but that doesn't necessarily mean I guess they should be evenly matched every game. All right, but let's see how many strikeouts we had here. Whoa, that's a lot of strikeouts. Watch the franchise time machine team strike out 8 times. Oh, wait, and the Seattle team struck out 14 times. What the heck is happening here? How is this Nate Cornejo striking out a batter who's not supposed to strike out? What is going on? Okay, I need to check on one of these Nelly Foxes and see what did something weird happen when they were import. No, the avoid K is on an 80 scale. On an 80 scale is 95. So they should not be striking out at all. What is happening? All right, let me go into editor and make sure that the oh, we've seen this before. When the number goes above 550, it acts like it's zero. Not zero, but like it loops around. We had this happen in one of our sims where I was adding points, and I think in the old game it used to be if you went above the max, it would just be like it would just extrapolate beyond the max. But with this current game, I think if you go above 500 here, let me show you. If I take this 558, look at the okay, look at avoid K and look at this. The view rating is 95. This 549 versus right is fine, but this 558 versus lefties, I think might be a problem. If I make that 550, no, okay, that didn't matter. But something's wrong. He should not be striking out this much. Oh, I wonder if it's because it's normalizing across the league. Because the league average avoid K is also super high. Because it's averaging across Cornejos and Foxes. So all the Foxes are averaging 551, but the Cornejos are dragging this avoid K down. Yeah, Cornejo. I think that's the problem. There's not enough other batters who would strike out. And so it's normalizing it. So no one's great at avoiding K. Everyone's going to be average at avoiding K. I think. Well, let's see what happens. I'm fascinated now. This is way more interesting results wise than I thought it would be. I just thought I would have a good chuckle at how few people struck out during an entire major league season, but we just had a massive number of strikeouts in the first game. Wait, let me go back to that box score. Where is that box score? How do I get back to the box score? Da, 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 da. I guess I have to open it up again. Yeah, for the franchise time machine team, Cornejo 10, 2 and 2/3 innings, struck out 8, which means of the 8 outs he recorded, 8 were strikeouts. And this is a pitcher whose stuff suggests he should throw 23 strikeouts in a season out of the bullpen. All right. This is getting weird. Let's see what happens. We sim another month. 19 consecutive strikeout streak. Nate Cornejo 10 has struck out 19 batters in a row. Followed closely by Nate Cornejo 3 for the Mariners, who struck out 17 in a row. What is happening? What is happening? Look at the starters. Oh, you know what it is? All the relievers have double digit K9, and I bet it's because they're getting the bullpen boost. Right? We keep hearing about when you put a start in the bullpen, they get a stuff boost because the starters are doing what we expected: zero zero K9 for Nate Corneo 5S. D-Luck, you're right. There's no way that should only be a gold level achievement. Oh, I should have taken a screenshot of the. Oh wait, how do I see my achievements? It's under history, right? Accomplishments. No, where are the achievements? I know I've seen it somewhere. There's a place you can go and see the achievements. Is it under manager? Oh, history. Oh, achievements. There you go. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. So 9 consecutive strikeouts by Cornejo 6 is a silver achievement. 19 consecutive strikeouts a is a gold. I think striking out 19 batters in a row, that needs to be like diamond. That needs to be a perfect achievement. There needs to be a level above diamond that's perfect for let's say striking out 20 batters in a row. Okay, I'm with you, D Block. That should not be just a gold achievement, 19 in a row. That should at least be diamond. All right, let's go back to the standings and do another month of this nonsense. Also, why is one of the teams so much better than the other? This is really RNG gonna RNG. A 10-game run streak by Nellie Fox 12. A 27 game hitting streak by Nellie Fox 12. Man, Nellie Fox 12 is gonna be MVP. All right, let's check out. All right, this is the Mariners pitching staff. Okay, the starters still have very low K9, but the relievers have insane K9. This one's got 25 strikeouts per 9 innings. The maximum you can have is 27. I thought, D Block, I thought someone had 21 in a nine inning game. Well, anyway, they're going to steamroll these records because this Nate Corneo 10 has 25.0 strikeouts per 9 innings. Uh, and it's not small numbers. He's thrown 31 innings, has a .86 ERA and a .45 WHIP. I wonder if something's happening in the development engine that these pitchers are starting to diverge from each other. Like, let's open this Cornejo. Oh, 21 was in a 16 inning complete game. Okay. Now that you mention it, you're right. I remember 20 being the big one and it being a big deal. Okay, so here are his ratings. They should be identical going all the way up the roster, and it looks like they are. And scouting accuracy is 100%. So, oh, but look at the velocity differences. As I go up and down, you can see the velocity changes. That's interesting. Why is that happening? So I bet Nate Corneo 10S, no, does not even have the highest velocity. Nate Corneo 9S has higher velocity. That's weird. Okay, this is why I do these sims. Like, I'm sure the idea seemed like, oh, okay, that might be interesting. But this sim is turning out to be incredible. All right, let's do another month. Oh, there's no All Star game because there's only two teams. I was wondering where the All Star game was going to happen, but there's no reason to have an All Star game. All right, let's do another month. Okay, we are starting to converge towards 500 records, I guess. All right, let's check out this pitching staff again. Okay, so not only do the starters have super low K9, their ERAs are way higher and their WHIPs are way higher than their bullpen counterparts. I know there's a separate game engine for base game versus perfect team, but if this is any indication, we should all be putting our Nate Cornejos in the pen and never be starting them. And I think I've never started because I remember hearing early in the cycle that there's a stuff penalty. If your stuff is below 30, you get dinged pretty hard as a starter. I don't know how true that is, but I remember hearing that, and therefore I've not started. Even some of the pitchers, like I think Tewksbury might be under 30, so I don't think I've ever started him. But yeah, look how much more effective they are coming out of the bullpen. And Nate Cornejo 10S has improved his strikeouts per nine now to 25.2. Okay, let's see if this same silliness is going on the franchise time machine side. Yeah, no, D Block. I'm talking about even in in low iron, I would not start him because of that, because I had heard that. Yeah, same thing's happening here. Although the improvement in the bullpen is not as great as on the Seattle side. But and you have to remember on the pitchers, I did not make any changes to the pitchers because the stamina was middle of the road enough that I thought, okay, the AI will make some starters and make some relievers. So these are identical pitchers. On the Nelly Foxes, I had to make some fielding changes to fill out a roster. I did not touch any of the pitchers in editor other than to update their names. So their version of Cornejo 10S is Cornejo 12, I guess. He's got a .46 ERA, a .33 WHIP, .33 WHIP, and 23.8 strikeouts. Their closer version is only slightly worse than WHIP, has a higher strikeout per nine, but does have a significantly higher ERA at 1.23. You know, we haven't looked at the batters yet. Let's see what the batters are doing. I usually start by OPS. The right fielder Nellie Fox 12 is leading this team in OPS. Now I remember hearing there was a catcher penalty to offense, but Nellie Fox 02, the starting catcher, is second on the team in OPS and tied for third in home runs. But look at this. These guys are striking out already more than Nellie Fox struck out in real life the entire season. 61 strikeouts already for Nellie Fox 12. All right, let's see what happens. Let's do another month. Ooh, wait, which team am I looking at here? This is weird because oh, I'm the manager for both, so I'm managing all teams in the league. So it's like if you look at shutdown streak, it has Nate Cornejo 7S and Cornejo 3. So those are from two different teams, but I'm the manager for both, so it's reporting them both to me. Nelly Fox 12 had a 33 game on base streak, and one of the teams, I can't tell which one, had a 10-game winning streak. I'm guessing it's the franchise time machine team because they have come way back to tighten up the race here. All right, I'm assuming the pitching patterns are staying the same, but let's double check. Yeah, pitchers' ERAs are still sky high. Let's look at the Seattle stats. Cornejo 10S is still dominating, still 25.2 strikeouts per nine, now at 50 innings, 51 innings. These starters are not going very deep. They're going not even 5 innings. Well, it makes sense if their ERAs are sky high. I manage both. Yes, rigged. Totally rigged. All right, let's go back to the standing stream. This is, though, very clearly highlighting the bullpen benefit. Like, these are literally identical pitchers, and the ones in the bullpen are doing so much better. Let's do another month. Oh, it's getting close to 500. Oh, we were at 500 for a second there. Oh, 500 again. 30-game streak without a run was just ended by Nate Cornejo 10S. The dominant Nate Cornejo 10S. Oh, look. Nate Cornejo 10, not 10S, also had a 28-game streak without a run. And Nate Cornejo 12 had one too. Okay, let's look at this Franchise Time Machine team. Look at 10 and 12. Oh yeah, these are the two. Yeah, while Seattle had that Nate Cornell 12S, the Franchise Time Machine has the 10 and 12 that are one's closing and the other's setting up, but they both have really good stats. I've never seen an ERA plus of 1006. Usually it's like 175, and you're like, wow, look at that ERA plus. This is 1006. All right, let's go back to the standings. Let's finish out this season. I can't wait to bounce these results off of people and try to understand what happened here. All right, let's see. We're at September 1st, so I guess we just go to the end of the regular season. Wait, why is the. Oh, yeah, okay. We should hit 162 games. It's really close to 500 now, the rest of the way. Okay, we're at game 151, and we have one more game to sim. Okay, Nate Cornejo 11 on the Franchise Time Machine team, winning the. Oh, because the relievers probably didn't have enough innings to qualify for ERA crown. So the least bad starter won that. And then we have home run champions, batting champion Nellie Fox 13S. I guess did we have a tie for home runs because Nellie Fox 12 and Nellie Fox 13S are both in there? Okay, so let's check out some stats. This is the Franchise Time Machine staff. Yeah, lowest ERA is a 5.51 and went 16 to 9. Again, identical, but interesting how varied the results are. This one went 16 to 9 with a 5.51. Its identical clone, number 4, went 3 and 16 with an 8.29. And how did 10 and 12 finish? They actually started converging on ERA. Their whips are still super low, 0.36 and 0.41. And their strikeouts per nine are right around 24. So let's see if 10S maintained his dominance. Oh, 10S actually came back down to 24.5, still ahead of the other team's counterparts. 42 saves, 0.55 ERA, 0.36 whip. 0.36 whip is insane. Okay, then let's see what's going on with the batters on the Seattle side. A lot of home runs from Nellie Fox and a lot of strikeouts. No one reached 100 strikeouts, but you have several almost 100 strikeout seasons. And as a reminder, Nellie Fox in real life in 1957 struck out 13 times. So the Nellie Fox who struck out 13 times uh, struck out over 90 times. One, two, three, four, 5 times on this team. So here's what I think happened. Well, let's look at the A's. I mean, I'm assuming the A's version will be pretty similar. Oh, this one has several hundred strikeout seasons. Wow. Okay, why is this team that much worse? That is really interesting. That means if we go look at the league leaders, right? Why is Seattle dominating the offensive stats here? Batting average. Like you would think there should be what there's eight, top eight, there should be 4-4, but it's 6-2 here. This is closer. Home runs is 5-3. On base percentage is 6-2. Slugging is 6-2. OPS is 6-2. I mean, OPS, of course, if the other two are 6-2, you expect. But like, why is it that unbalanced? Let's look at pitching leaders. Pitching leaders is the reverse. At least on ERA, the franchise time machine team has four of the top five. Wow, one of these terrible Cornejo starters actually threw a shutout. That's kind of incredible. And check out these. I mean, considering how few innings, like none of them threw over 200 innings, yet three of them threw 200 strikeouts against the guy who doesn't strike out. All right, let's. I think there's going to be a postseason, so let's go to that. Let's at least play it out, and then. Oh wait, let me screenshot the standings and stuff. Standings. Let me screenshot this. Function F12 if you haven't done it before. It screenshots your OOTP screen. Very convenient. And then let me get. This is the FTM pitching, franchise time machine pitching stats. And let me get the franchise time machine batting stats. And then let's go to the Seattle. Pitching stats. And then the Seattle batting stats. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I am finding these results to be fascinating. All right, let's go to the playoff coverage. All right, it's just one best of seven. Wow, and after all that, the franchise time machine team with the gentleman's sweep. I thought for sure it'd go seven. Okay, I have theories. I have hypotheses. I'll get into them after I screenshot this. And I guess there will be postseason awards. All right, we won a championship, of course. A 642 game score, which it wasn't going to be super high because we are always going to be around 500 because the teams are theoretically identical or started identically. And I wonder, so I want to check my mailbox for. Oh, you know what? I unchecked so many things. I don't think we're going to get. I should have left it to see if we got any. player development updates, because I think that's part of what happened is the player development was left on, and so the identical Cornejos and Foxes probably started diverging from each other, and so that would explain why I think some of the differences. Okay, the other thing I want to do is we were originally managing the franchise time machine team. I want to look at the Seattle rosters to make sure nothing changed because by putting them all under human control, okay, successful. This is a issue I was worried about having because it came up when we first tested out the franchise favorites league. So we had Cheekies, Padres, Twins 34's Twins, and Nolan's Mariners in the same league because I was just trying out that format. And the one team I was the nominal human manager for was fine. There were no, weird roster moves or additions. Oh, we're in ads. Let me pause. Okay, sorry about that. We're back from an ad break. Um, the thing I was saying was this was really helpful because by checking the Mariners roster to make sure nothing new had been added, it means we went through roster expansion and the AI did not add anybody, and that was not a, a certainty because previously when I tested an early version of the franchise favorites league, so this is where different people are going to submit a roster to me. I'm going to sim like Cheeky's all-time favorite Padres, replacing the Padres in 2023, and Twins 34, his favorite Twins of all time. I'm going to sim them in 2023. But then when we're done, they're all going into this league where hopefully we'll have 30 teams that are all someone's favorite players from a franchise, and they're all going to play against each other. But when I tested out, the team I was controlling was fine, but the other teams had weird, like not weird, but like random, not random, I guess, but like they had players added to the roster that had not been chosen. And so what I realized was only the human controlled team was preventing the AI from making roster moves. So what we did today by making every team controlled by me, even though as D Block pointed out, it is rigged, it prevented the AI from adding players to the Mariners. And let me confirm that our team, which is the franchise time machine team, or the formerly known as the Athletics, let me make sure they also did not have. I'm less worried about this team because this is a team I started controlling, and so yeah, no one was added. But neither team had people added, which is great news because I needed to understand how to do that for the franchise favorites league. Okay, so are we gonna have postseason awards? Let's find out. Yeah, looks like it. Let's go to Great Glove Awards. Oh, I forgot to screenshot the playoff tree. Sure. All right, now let's go back. Sorry, back to those postseason awards. So Great Glove Awards. Now, you would think they should all be, I mean, theoretically, right? They should be evenly distributed because everyone's identical. So I would expect to be close to 4 to 5. Okay, it's 4 to 5. That's good. I would start to worry if it was like 8 to 1 or something. I always copy these results and paste them into a document just to kind of track in case I ever want to go back and do any kind of analysis on the postseason awards. Okay, so now let's do Silver Slugger. Again, a reliever of the year. I think it's going to be 10S. It is. Nate Cornejo 10S. And, oh, 4S is the second. And then Nate Cornejo 10. That's what I would expect. I expected 10 to be second place, but that's interesting. Okay. Now we'll do Platinum Stick Award. Now there's a DH, so I guess there should be 9. Well, even if there wasn't, the pitcher would get an award. So yes, the Mariners won 4-5, and the franchise time machine team won 4, so that checks. I mean, they don't have to be 5-4 every time, but the overall trend should be towards being even. I would think theoretically. Okay, Rookie of the Year. Is it 10S? Why was there no award? Were there no rookies? They were all rookies. Oh, no, no, because when they imported, none of them were rookie eligible. That makes sense. Manager of the Year? The Mariners version wins. So they had the best regular season record, but I thought, yeah, the franchise time machine team won the championship, but the Seattle version won Manager of the Year. So I wonder if that means the AI overweights regular season over championship for Manager of the Year. Kind of seems that way. All right, let's go to the next award. Cy Young Award. Now, will the reliever 10S win it? It is. It's Nate Cornejo 10S. So he wins reliever of the year and Cy Young Award, which is not that surprising. It's because the starters were such trash. All right, and then MVP award. Hmm. Both the Cy Young and the MVP winner came from the Seattle team, yet the franchise time machine team won the championship. That's interesting. He swept the first place votes, all 2 of them. 23 home runs, 84 RBI, 290 average. and I'm guessing about 100 strikeouts. Okay, so I think our season is over. Let me save it real quick. Or actually, if I finish today, it'll do all the postseason stuff. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's until it gets to the off season. So, okay, this will be a good time to save. Okay, so here's my hypothesis. And the hint came from when I went to editor and looked at the batting stats, and I looked and I forgot that it has a lead. Oh my goodness, I just freaked myself out. I moved my feet under my desk and I was like, there is something warm and soft under my foot. And I realized my dog had crawled under there and had crawled right under my feet. I thought I had a heart attack just now. Um, I hope I did not hurt you when I put my foot down. No, you're just still sitting there, so I guess you're okay. Okay, so my hypothesis is based on, let's pick any of these batters. Let's pick the MVP winner, Nellie Fox 13S. Okay, when I went into editor, right, the league average avoid Ks is super high. There's no way in normal Major League Baseball it's 415. And it's super high because there's a bunch of Nelly Foxes raising it up, and there's also a slightly fewer number of Nate Corneos dragging it down. But the entire batter pool has a high avoid K. Therefore, each Nelly Fox is only slightly better than league average in avoid K. And I think because of that normalization, I think that's why they're all striking out about 90 times, 80, 90 times. And there's little variance in the numbers. The only reason this Nelly Fox 12S has 68 is because he only played 5 games. All the ones that played over 130 games, they all have 80 or 90 strikeouts. And so everyone's the same. Everyone's close to league average. And so everyone's striking out a lot. That's my theory. And then on the pitching side, something similar is happening, but there's a big bullpen starter split because of all the different advantages we've heard pitchers get when they go into the bullpen. I've heard about the stuff boost. I've heard about there's a pitch boost because they focus on their, is it 2 or 3 best pitches instead of all the pitches? And I think those two things are combining to make the bullpen Cornejos way better than the starter Cornejos. And I think the difference is, I don't think the difference is so huge in the normal universe, but it's because those bullpen advantages are then taking those Cornejos so far away from the average because the average is the same for everybody. Those bullpen advantages have a disproportionate impact. And so that's why these bullpen Cornejos are so dominant and the starter Cornejos are just terrible. So anyway, that's so that's my hypothesis that all these different weird things we're seeing, like Nellie Fox striking out way more than he ever did in real life, is because of the normalization the game is doing within the league. Instead of normalizing across like all of 2023, because we took all those players out of the league, it's um it's normalizing just among the Nelly Foxes. So I think another way to do this would be, what happens if I release this team into the 2023 season? That would be interesting. Um, but the reason I wanted to do this was, what happens when low stuff pitchers face low stuff batters? But because of the way the game normalizes, I don't think we'll ever. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a way to do this. Can we get around the normalization and have a Nate Cornejo who's representative of how he is relative to the major, so low stuff, but decent, like good home run suppression and good control, face a lineup of Nellie Foxes who have great avoid K in the absence of all these artifacts caused by the normalization. I wonder if too, if D Block, if this is going to impact your series with Spore, because you no longer have a league of average players to normalize off of. So is that going to then cause weird things to happen when we just do a 9-game demonstration series where it's just the best players from two franchises? Are we going to see weird things like we saw here with Nate Cornejo being dominant out of the bullpen or Nellie Fox striking out way more than he ever did? I think it will be helpful to understand those things before we go into that simulation. But anyway, I've accomplished what I wanted to with this. It was definitely not the results I was expecting. I was expecting the league-wide strikeout total to be super low, and it'd just be like a contact out league. But instead, everything normalized, and the bullpens, tornadoes were super strong, and we got these weird results. I mean, weird and entertaining results, but I want to know what I would need to do to get the results I was expecting, which is I want to see super low strikeout league because the pitchers can't strike anyone out and the hitters don't strike out. How do I do that without this normalization thing creeping in? I wonder if Twins 34 knows some way to like turn off the normalization. He's gonna be one of the first people I reach out to with these results and say, "Hey, this ended up being super fun, but it's not what I expected or even wanted. How do I still have these players be normalized against their peers, even though those peers are now no longer in the league to normalize off of?" I don't know if that's making sense, but I understand it. I think I can explain it, or if I'm talking to someone real time and like they're not quite getting me, I think I can like try enough different approaches to explain what I think is happening to get to some mutual understanding. But it'll be fun to figure out like how do I not have this happen? How do I have the outcome I expected initially? Which is like the league should still be close to 500 because they're identical teams, but I wanted to see that super low strikeout, everything is BABIP league. There's got to be a way. I'll ask on the forums too. The follow up to this to me will be almost as interesting as doing the Sims. Okay, so I'm going to call this mission accomplished. I think it ended up being super interesting in a completely different way than I was expecting, but still interesting nonetheless. So let me get ready to raid us into Max LP 80. If you're not following him already, I think you should. He does late night sims, or no, he does late night streams, mostly of his play. I know he does Spores, Silver Soiree, I think some other assorted tournaments. So let me see, he's streaming. He should still be streaming. Yep, there he is. All right, so let's get ready to raid into Max here. Well, joining me. I hope I hope you enjoyed the weirdness here today as much as I did. I know I got super nerded out on everyone here, but I really dig this stuff. Sorry, my computer's freezing up a little bit here. All right, let's see. Yeah, my system gets super laggy and choppy and freezy after, I don't know if it's OOTP or using OBS for so long. I know my system's underpowered and I'm working on that, but like right now, I can't even type in my chat window because it's frozen. Yeah, I can't even type into my. Oh, here we go. I'm finally able to type into my OBS chat window again. It finally unfroze. All right, let's see if we can raid in here. All right, we're going to raid into Max. Please give him a follow, show him some love, and enjoy his stream. All right, have a good night, everybody. See you next time on the Franchise Time Machine.